After 18 days abroad, President Bola Tinubu has returned to Abuja, Nigeria. His aircraft touched down at the presidential wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport at 9:50 p.m. local time. He was received by senior officials, including the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the FCT Minister, the National Security Advisor, Chief of Staff Femi Gbajabiamila, and the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning. President Tinubu left Nigeria on April 2nd, spending time in Paris before reportedly traveling to London. Amid criticism over his absence during deadly attacks in Plateau and Benue states, the presidency maintained that the president was in constant communication and continued to issue directives to security agencies. While in Paris, Tinubu held talks with the U.S. State Department's senior advisor for Africa, Masad Bolos, on strengthening bilateral ties, regional security, and sustainable economic development.
Very quickly to President Bola Tinubu. I think we're happy that President Tinubu is back. We welcome him, but there are issues that happened while he was away and that we need to address. And I think that all of this has to do, in my view, with transparency and accountability. The president told us that he was going on a working visit to France. Now he ended up in London. Nigerians would like to know, what did you do during that working visit? Transparency and accountability. Yeah, we saw a number of press statements, obituaries being issued, statements about census and all of that. Now, what Nigerians are asking for is transparency and accountability. They voted for President Bola Tinubu. They just are saying that they want him to be present at all times. We have locations in this country. There is Obudu Cattle Ranch, where the president...
Cattle Ranch is always the first alternative.
The best.
Obudu Cattle Ranch, you see there. In 2011, President Jonathan went there. We spent 2 weeks there. I was in government at the time. Now, they have Governor Soludo is building a state-of-the-art presidential retreat in Anambra. I visited the location. This is not a Google commentary. This is not a social media journalism. I was there. He could go to Anambra. The people in Anambra will be happy to host him. In Ogun State, there is also a presidential villa, and I guess it's the same in other states of the country. But the president of Nigeria is perpetually going abroad. That's the major concern of Nigerians. In the U.S., they have Camp David under, I think, President Carter, and then they have Mar-a-Lago under President Donald Trump. They don't go all over the world, you know, in a fit of absenteeism. I think that should be addressed, and President Tinubu should show that example. The concern that people are expressing is because they say our president cannot be perpetually, consistently, routinely absent. That's number one. Number two, now that he has returned, there are issues that he has to address. One, insecurity. We had elite absenteeism during the period that he was away. The elites of Nigeria, they too were wondering, where is our president? From France to London, only for him to show up yesterday. No, that is concerning. Number two is the issue of the economy. This administration, when it came to power, was talking about revenue. That revenue is the problem. Mr. Edmund said so. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy. Now, oil spot price of crude oil now is below $75, is below $70. These are urgent things that the president needs to worry about. Three, his party is in disarray. The APC is divided right down the middle. There are some elements within the CPC who are saying we don't want to be part of this party again. There are some elements who are saying we still want to be part of this party. There are also elements from the north who are saying, look, President Tinubu is not providing the kind of leadership that we expected. And they gave him 62% of the votes. These are very urgent issues that President Tinubu needs to sit down and address. Number 4, who was in charge while he was away? I know that the Constitution says, there's a threshold of 21 days and all that. But we did not see a situation where the vice president was put in charge. We saw press statements. No, President Tinubu needs to stay at home because this boat is rocking. It's being rocked. And maybe perhaps he needs to take a second look at his cabinet. Yeah, during the period, Minister Edun met with IMF World Bank Group on Article 4. Minister Kiari, in charge of agriculture, was there. Some other officials were there. Then 1 or 2 things happened. But look, we didn't see a sense of coordination. When the president is leaving town, we should see a sense of coordination. Now that he is back, he is the man Nigerians voted for. He is the man they elected as their president. Can he take charge on all of these issues and give us a sense of stability within his party and within the country? These, I think, are the concerns of Nigerians.
First and foremost, it is fitting to welcome the president back to the country and hope that he is, as he reportedly says so, is ready to continue doing the work of leadership at the helm of this country. We have seen that already he has engaged in meetings with service chiefs to directly address this insecurity issue we're finding ourselves in, most especially in Benue and in Plateau states. But I do think that it's going to take a bit more, I think, to satisfy the people of Nigeria at a time like this. There are many people who felt as though, especially when we're looking at Plateau and Benue, that perhaps enough hasn't been done in terms of literal eye service, people being able to see the face of the president and senior members of this elected government in order to address the concerns when it comes to safety, especially since we continue to report the deadly attacks that are taking place in those regions. Of course, there was also the criticism of the Inspector General of Police, who made a visit to Benue but didn't actually go to the site of these killings. So it will be interesting to see what the plan is for the president. Will he be traveling into these communities? Will he be speaking to these people directly? Or what is his plan to address these killings? We do hear from the highest echelons of the Catholic Church, Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka, also calling on the federal government, calling on the president to do something to address these killings. So I do think that while we do welcome the president back and are very happy to see him hale and hearty, it is time now for him to really do the business of being the president and being able to address the concerns of the people who have been eagerly anticipating his return.
This is a call for us to reflect on what leadership means and the type of leadership that we want to see amongst our own people. The globalization of indifference is what I reiterate, because again, we cannot continue with this type of body language that almost comes across as though there is an indifference towards the plight, because there's now so many reports of deaths, so many reports of hardship, it's rampant all over the place that it's easy to become desensitized to it. But this is a call for us to not become desensitized to it, to go to the ground and to confront it head on. And in philosophical terms and metaphorical terms, bow down to the knees of those warring parties, those disputing, and kiss their feet in a show of humility that shows how much commitment we have to security, to economic security, and to social security for all in Nigeria.